Grand Rising, Earth brothers and sisters. You know what we're doing today. We're getting the energy for today. I'm not trying to be on here long. I already recorded a video for you guys prior. In that video, we're going to be talking about protection again, and like two videos prior to the one that I'll be posting. Um, we had a reading about um, protection, how we needed to work with our ancestors and our spirit guides to ask for protection and to understand what things in our life need protection at this time. And so I made a video about how that message revelated, how that message um, was incorporated in my life. And through there, I gave you a couple of gems on spiritual baths, on how to do a Reiki session on yourself, all these great, great gems. Now, again, um, you always can DM me, you can always email me for any spiritual needs that you need, whether it's a reading, whether it's some recipes, whatever the case is. Definitely hit me up on my Instagram, Soul is Rising. So soul period is period rising, or soul is rising 44 at gmail.com. So today is April 6, 2022. Let's get it. Oh, I don't have a pen. Okay, April is 4, right? Today's the 6th, so that's 10. And then 2022 is 6. So 10 plus 6 is 10 plus 6 is 16. 1 plus 6 is 7. Today is a 7-day. Yesterday was a 6-day. I mean, we're just going to keep going up and up and up, right? Okay. So today is a 7-day, right? Today is a 7-day, 7-day. And I feel like Wednesday is ruled by I'm wrong. Wednesday is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is all about communication. Okay. How should and so Mercury is all about how should you communicate your emotions? How do you communicate your emotions? How can you better communicate your emotions, right? So Mercury is all about communication, especially when it comes to our emotions. What does the number 7 mean in numerology? Completeness and perfection. Oh, wow. So 7 also represents a combination of creativity and practicality. So how do you communicate your creativity? How do you communicate your practicality, your realm, your, why can I say it? I keep saying realization. The number 7 symbolizes humanity's deep inner need to find depth, meaning, and spiritual connection. So this is why I need a pen. So this is how I can channel better. But what I'm getting at is that today talks about how do you communicate how do you communicate with your spirit team? What your creative did, what your creative ideas are, and what your reality looks like. So, one journal question that you could definitely write down for today is how do I communicate with my spirit team on how I want to express myself creatively? How can I work with my spirit team to express myself completely and creatively? I'm kind of cold. One second. Okay, sorry. I got a little cold. But how can I communicate practically but creatively? How can I communicate practical skills creatively? How do I practically live a creative life? Wow. How do I practically live a creative life? Okay. So I think today what we should focus on is how do I practically live a creative life? And what I mean by that is like practicality. Let's look up the definition for that. Maybe I can share my screen. Mm, never mind. How do I practically live a creative life? So let's look up practicality. So practical is concerned with the actual doing or use of something rather than the theory and ideas. So how can I make my creative ideas reality? All right. I think we already have our tarot question for today based off of the energies that are surrounding us this moment. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into it. You know, I got my wow. So how can I make my creative ideas? Ooh, the tower card obviously wants to come in. Ooh. Ooh, this is such a hard thing. What is it? No. Nine of Pentacles jumped out. All right, Spirit. I want to thank you so much for being present with us and just allowing me to be a vessel of information and light for my earth brothers and sisters and for myself. I ask that you give us clear, concise truth. Today we use the energies of the planets, the day. We use the tools that you have already given us to be in your presence and asking for clarity. Spirit, could you please answer the question? How can we make our creative ideas become practical? We no longer want them to be theories or ideas. We want them to come into our reality. How do we make this happen? Did I say speak with me? Creative ideas come into play. All right, so before asking the question, the Tower card came out. Nine of Pentacles reversed, Nine of Cups reversed, Queen of Wands. So basically what I'm seeing here is that with the Queen of Wands, you are filled with different ideas. You have a lot of creative ideas, a lot of different systems that you're willing to put in place, a lot of theories that you have that you would like to share. But then it's this Tower card, and it's like every time, well, there's a problem. And the problem really is that you're just not content and you're never content. You're never happy with what you have. You never see the progress that you've gone so far. And so because of that, you stop tending, you stop tending to the ideas. So that was the first question, or that was the main message that came out before even asking a question. It's like, you have all these ideas, but the problem is, or when there becomes a problem, you just stop tending to those ideas. The question that I asked Spirit was, how do we make our creative ideas a reality? So we have Three of Swords reversed, the Fool card, King of Pentacles, and Four of Pentacles reversed. It's crazy because today is a 7-day and it's made up of two prime numbers, 4 and 3. 3 talks about creativity and 4 talks about practicality. And the Three of Swords is reversed and the Four of Pentacles is reversed. With the King of Pentacles here, I just feel like maybe some of you guys are trying to make it too practical. Maybe some of the ideas that you have aren't to be so reduced to practicality. Yeah, I like with the King of Pentacles upright, the Four of Pentacles and Three of Swords reversed, but then the Fool card being upright, it lets me know that you have to go about your creative ideas in a different way. You can't use the same structures or the same systems that these capitalistic or karmic ass fucking businesses are doing. You can't do it that way. That's not how your ideas are to be made. Um, Also, you can't necessarily focus so much on the dollar. You cannot focus so much on the dollar when it comes to your creative ideas. Like earlier in the video, like this is kind of making me reflect a little bit when I'm like, hey, I don't know if it was this video, but it may have been the other video where I'm just like, I can't give any of this information out for free. And I know when people hear that, they're like, oh, all you're worried about is the money, all you're worried about is the dollar. But really, I'm only asking that because I feel as though spirit and myself deserve a certain level of respect. And a lot of times when things are given away for free, like they don't, like respect is not given. But outside of that, like some of us, um, okay, like for example, I have a friend, right? And they're interested in doing, one moment. So basically I have like, earlier we were talking about like how you can't necessarily be so worried about the dollar. Like, um, again, the question was, how can we make, how can we like practically live a creative life? And the one of the messages was number one, to do things a little different. Um, can't be done the same as normal businesses or other businesses. The second one is not focusing so much on the dollar. A lot of times our creativity comes from our solar plexus, it comes from our confidence, it comes from our gut, it comes from um, the being of us, right? So it's not always best to just put a dollar sign on it. A lot of times you need to, a lot of our creative ideas also come from our heart. So a lot of times when you have these creative ideas, you have to understand that the currency in which you are receiving energy um, may be a little different. I have no idea why I have this random bump on my nose, but I really feel like I need to get my nose pierced. Like, that's so wild to me. I've always had this side of my nose pierced, but I've heard about this left side. And the fact that this bump is right here, once I started thinking about it, it's just like crazy. Go get a nose piercing. So, yeah. And a lot of you guys may be like, it's not practical to not ask for money in return. And I don't know, you're gonna probably need a private reading for that. I can't really answer that on a public platform. So Spirit, how else can we bring our creative ideas into a practical world? So crazy because I feel like all of these cards are upside down. We have the Three of Cups upright. We have the, I'm changing them right now. The Nine of Swords reverse, Queen of Cups upright, and King of Swords upright. And the way that I'm reading this is that you have to understand that you are a spiritual being, that you have transformed or become this very transformed being, you know? And so, yes, you live in this world, but you aren't of this world. You live in this world, but you're not of this world. And what that means is that a lot of times what practical looks like for you does not look practical for other people. And you have to be okay with that. So that comment where I'm, and this is only for a select few of you guys, but that comment when I'm like, maybe the way that you are receiving your energetic currency for your ideas, for your creative ideas, may not show up in money right away. It may just show up in gratitude. And maybe that's something that you need in order to progress as a spiritual being. So, a lot of times, what looks practical for you isn't practical for other people. And that's because you have already transformed, like you have transmuted certain energies, you have removed yourself from certain um, matrices and vibrations. So therefore, practical looks a little different for you. The second thing I see is that it is very important to continuously nurture your creative ideas. But I see roses here, so that means that the way that you look at your creative ideas is with love. You can't be frustrated. You can't just want to quit. You always have to tend and give love to the things that you care about and that you want in your life. And it's so funny because it's like, it looks like she's pregnant. It could look like she's like caressing her pregnant belly. But the pinnacle talks about the earthly realm. It talks about the things that we acquire here. It talks about the material things. So um, I'm not sure, maybe like your creative idea is something that's tangible for the world. And even if it's not tangible, whatever creative idea it is, it needs to be surrounded with love. It needs to be cared for, it needs to be tended to.